All right, how's it going, guys? My name is Omar Thompson. I'm a middle school teacher slash entrepreneur from Los Angeles, California, and I attended the Tuskegee University. My passion is to inspire education and HBCU culture to the youth, along with information, encouragement to go along with into the entrepreneurship realm for those who are already in the college atmosphere. So with that being said, I'm going to provide you guys every week with a entrepreneurship spotlight along with critical events around the world. With that being said, let's send it over to Cam.
Hi, everybody. My name is Camron Hurt. I am a proud graduate of Tuskegee University. I'm a political scientist who works right now in the realms of civil rights law and advocacy. I've also been an educator as well as a news contributor and many, many other accolades that I'm super proud of and humbled that I am able to obtain and share with you guys. I'm going to be coming at you guys once a week live right here with Historically Black Sense for the Black News Briefing to give you guys your political news and your current event updates. What's really moving and shaking in our world, and what do we need to be talking about? We're here to give you a specific and unique look at your news, your way, for you. We are so incredibly honored to be able to have this platform and to bring to our community what we think is important. Omar is going to tell us what we got coming up first. Omar.
Okay, so guys, what we have today, we got a real special show for you. We have a celebrity chef, E-Double, also known as E-Double Catering, Edwin Redway. He hails from Los Angeles, California as well. We also have a spotlight on the Tigray crisis that's happening in Ethiopia with a young brother named Agazi Abe. So Agazi, we're going to go ahead and chime him in so we can go ahead and get briefing on with Tigray.
Awesome. Thank y'all for having me. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Okay, cool,
yes,
cool.
sir.
Omar, Cam, thank y'all for having me. Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Excited to be here with y'all and tell y'all about what's happening in Tigray right now. So for those of y'all who don't know, Tigray is a region north of Ethiopia, right? South of Eritrea, holds anywhere from about 6 to 7 million population. Is pretty small compared to Ethiopia's large population. So what's happening right now in Tigray is that you have a genocide and ethnic cleansing happening on the people of Tigray, right? So this is being done by the Ethiopian government, the same government that the people of Tigray are citizens of, is actually attacking their region, right? Not only that, but this has turned into an international war because Eritrea has been invited in from the north to also attack Tigray. So you have two countries attacking one small region, and this has been going on since November, right? So about 6 months now. And in those 6 months, you had about a reported 150,000 civilians killed, right? Within 6 months, that's a large number of people. You have 80,000 refugees who fled over to the neighboring country of Sudan, right? And then you have over 70%, according to Doctors Without Borders, over 70% of hospitals and clinics have been destroyed and looted by the Ethiopian government and the Eritrean government inside of Tigray. So not only is this region turned into a battle zone, right? Not only are the people fleeing for their lives, but those who couldn't make it out are left without hospitals, you know? And the scary part is, majority of the Tigray region is still under a blackout. Journalists can't get in there. NGOs can't get in there. And the Ethiopian government has completely cut off communications from majority of Tigray. So whatever's happening there is actually left in the dark. And that's the scary part. You know, like we know about the civilian casualties. We know how many refugees have fled and we know their testimonies, but we still don't know what's happening in the greater part of Tigray because everything is blacked out. So yeah, I want to talk to y'all a little bit about that today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, but that's what's currently going on. This is a modern day Rwandan genocide, right? Happening in the year 2021. It sounds crazy. It's like, this is like stuff that that you watch on the History Channel, right? That the world says will never allow to happen again, yet it's still happening now. So that's
I got
Tigray,
a
and that's
question
what's
for you.
going on. Do you have any questions before I continue to? Yeah.
Can I know the internet is we having a little bit of difficulty with the internet. But Agazi,
Mhm.
I want to ask you, do you know the number of massacres that have occurred as of right now in Tigray?
The massacres, I don't know the number of massacres because, again, like I said, majority of Tigray is under a blackout. We know of some of the massacres that happen in places that gained communication access, at least for a brief amount of time, right? The Aksum massacre, which killed nearly 1,000 people. You have the Shire massacre. You have massacres just about in every city and town in Tigray. Unfortunately, because there is a blackout, we don't know the exact number of just how many massacres have taken place in the past 6 months.
So Agazi, my people are Oromo, Somali, and Djiboutian, so I'm pretty familiar with the area. I want to ask this question, having the knowledge that I do of the area. You have Eritrea to the north, and you have Ethiopia to the south. Now, Eritrea and Ethiopia have been enemies for so long. Why are they burying the hatchet just to attack this small region? And when I say why, I'm more so shocked about Eritrea's involvement. Why would Eritrea want to get involved with this when they know Ethiopia will just want to push their borders even more?
Yeah, and you know what? That's the amazing question. So as of 2018, there was actually a peace treaty deal signed with Ethiopia and Eritrea, right? This was a festive time. People were celebrating. The crazy thing about like war and stuff, it's never the civilians who want to go out and fight, right? They don't have issues, especially coming from, you're familiar with the Horn of Africa. Most of the people there are living in small little towns and villages and agricultural communities, right? They're not worried about what's happening, 50, 30, 80, 100 miles away. They're more so worried about, well, we're going to get enough rains to water these crops, right? That's their main concern. So when this peace treaty gets signed with Eritrea and Ethiopia, most people are celebrating, right? It's an amazing day. It's an amazing moment. It's monumental. That actually got the Prime Minister of Ethiopia a Nobel Peace Prize, that treaty right there. But
really?
So it's being reported. Yeah, it's crazy that how you rolled your eyes. You said but yeah,
it's because for me, I know that Ethiopia has perpetuated violence since the end of World War II in the region of the Horn, and they've always gotten a pass because they cater to Western allies and the Western powers and their agenda. So to hear that an Ethiopian president, after Haile Selassie, has been awarded a peace prize is mind-blowing.
It is, and it's because of that border treaty. And you know what? Thank you for bringing that up, because what most people don't understand is that Ethiopia was an empire that ruled off like most empires, right? Subjugation, right? Because so you study your Oromo, that's the largest ethnic group in Ethiopia, for those who don't know, right? And historically have been oppressed for the past 100 years from Haile Selassie on down. Actually, Menelik II, from what I understand, on down. Right, but not to get too much into detail and stray away from the topic. You know what, man? It's crazy. It's almost like it went from 0 to 100 real quick, literally, because just 2 years ago, people were celebrating this peace treaty, right? But now, right, these two partners, and I'm gonna say partners in crime, are now collaborating to attack this Tigray region. Now, there's conflicting information out there. If you're familiar with East Africa and the Horn of Africa, oh my gosh, the amount of like propaganda, the amount of narratives and stuff that is put is ridiculous, and it really makes you want to like stray away from getting involved or even learning about what's happening, right? So one major source says that the government of Tigray, right, actually sent missiles off to Eritrea, Asmara, while the capital of Eritrea is called Asmara. Sent missiles off, right, attacking Eritrea. There's some context not given there though, because why would a region that's already going to war with Ethiopia to the south try to start something with a country to the north of it, right, and cause itself more problems, like just using some critical thinking skills that doesn't make much sense, right? So there's sources now that's saying no, Eritrean troops were actually already attacking Tigray beforehand, right? There's sources that say Eritrean jets were coming down onto Tigray beforehand. Now, when we look close into the details, that that wasn't mentioned. Where were these missiles sent in Asmara, right? Were they sent to the hospitals, the businesses, their political offices? No, they actually got sent to the airport, right? Where fighter jets are flying out of. So in a nutshell, Eritrea gets involved. There's sources that say they've actually been involved from the very beginning. There's some folks that say that they've been plotting on this since the peace treaty.
What is it that they want? What's the end goal for the region? Like, why is this area? What even brought it to war? If these are Ethiopian citizens, why attack them? What's the reasoning that Ethiopia is given for the conflict?
Yeah.
And are they in any way religiously different than the Ethiopian Orthodox and the Sunni Muslim majority that has over?
No, that's great. It has nothing to do with religion. That's the thing, right? And I want to first start off by saying there is no justification to attacking civilians, right? You have political differences, cool, right? Take out on the politicians, right? Or you're going to war with people, take out on the soldiers, right? But now you're attacking civilians. That's not okay, right? That's war crimes there. So the end goal, you know what? I can't even tell you. I don't know what the end goal is. I mean, other than to say, off the information that we're getting now, other than to say that they're just trying to commit a genocide on the people of Tigray, right? Because there are trigger warning, right? I'm gonna talk about some of the rape that's been going on, but there's been mass rape happening in Tigray by these Eritrean and Ethiopian troops on the women of Tigray. There are reports from women who made it into the refugee camps in Sudan saying that they were getting gang raped, right? And there's quotes of them, and I quote, right? Ethiopian soldiers saying that their problem, quote, "My problem isn't with you, it's with your womb," right? Tigrayan women should not be allowed to give birth, right? Quote. So again, I can't tell you what if there's.
I have a question for you, Agazi. It seems as though when you talk to different political, different groups, other than Tigray, right? Some Ethiopians, they claim that they'll say that there's nothing going on, or that there isn't any political conflict or any unfairness towards the Tigray people. Can you speak to that aspect of it? I mean, why is it? What is the divide? With the different groups in Ethiopia.
Yeah, man, definitely. We were transparent with you. I was actually very shocked to see how much pushback that when I say we, I mean people who are advocating to end the war in Tigray, how much pushback we were getting from other Ethiopians, right? Up until just last month, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia was actually denying the fact that there were Eritrean troops inside of Tigray. He actually said back in November that the war ended, declared the war to have been ended back in November 28th, right? Here we are now, April, right? The end of April, and we're still hearing about Eritrean troops on the ground. We're still hearing about Ethiopian troops on the ground, right? Attacking civilians. So up until last month, right, after denying over and over again that conflict was over in Tigray, the Prime Minister admits that there are Eritrean troops committing atrocities in Tigray, right? So there is a large amount of Ethiopian government supporters who will really just will take whatever the Prime Minister or the Ethiopian government says and run with it, right? And it's disgusting to see that they're putting this idea of nationalism, right, or politics over humanity, right? Because no matter how many Ethiopians will come out and say, "Oh, nothing's happening in Tigray," right? We have multiple sources that is telling us, yes, there is stuff happening in Tigray, right?
We have a
for
question.
myself being somebody. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ghazi. I just wanted to make sure that we got this question in before the segment ended. But somebody wants to know, does the genocide have a direct or indirect effect on African or Black citizens in the United States?
I said it has a direct effect because, I mean, my parents are from Tigray, but I'm born and raised here in the U.S. and I am a Northern California boy to the T, and I'm affected because I lost relatives, I lost family, right? Most of my family who's still back there, I don't know how they're doing. You know what I mean? And I'm not a unique case. This goes for everybody who is of the African diaspora from Tigray living out west. So I'd say that it does have an effect because a lot of us are living here and grew up with y'all. You know what I'm saying? And we are affected heavily. So it does. I would like to say, I know they said the segment is ending soon. Look up what's happening in Tigray. Just Google up Tigray genocide. Google up, and it's spelled Tigray, right? Just look up what's happening, get involved. There's a few pages on Instagram you can follow that are really doing amazing work into spreading awareness and also letting people know how they can get involved. And that one page is called Omna Tigray, Omna, O-M-N-A, Tigray. Another one is called Stand with Tigray, SW Tigray. They both have their own websites. Just put a .org at the end of any of them. You'll see where you could donate if you want to donate, where to get more information if you want more information. But I do just want to leave y'all with this. History is made every day, meaning that every day you have opportunity to right side.
How can we help directly? Oh, did he go? Did we lose him? Oh, no, he's still there. How can we help directly? Do we need to write a congressman? What can we do to bring awareness to this? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Nope, can't hear you.
No, the internet. You seem to be having the problems with the internet. All right. What we can do is, if you guys have any questions as far as the Tigray crisis, you could go ahead and give us a holler, and we will be able to direct you with further information. You can give us a can you hear us? Are we back on?
No, we can't hear him still.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, just give us a DM historically black sense at historically black sense. All right. All right.
There is a question that says, real quick, because I think we got like 2 minutes. Yeah, we got like 2 minutes, and we got a question here. There's something missing. Rape is a common act of war. You think the political goal is to just take over or eliminate Tigray?
All right, guys, can you hear me? Am I back?
We can hear you.
Awesome. Hear you. Cool. Okay. Technical difficulties. No, okay. The last question I saw was, what can we do to help? So right now we have multiple petitions that we're creating, nationwide protests all over the place. I mean, you name it. We had a protest in DC, New York, Atlanta, LA. I mean, and we still have more planned. But hop on the website omnatigray.org, and they will give you a lot of information just on what you could do to get involved, what's happening on the ground. As soon as it gets reported, Omna's throwing it online, right? Petitions you could sign. Same with swtigray.org. They both have Instagram pages, Twitter accounts under those names, SW Tigray and Omna Tigray. So follow. Yeah, one of the most simplest ways you could help is to even spread awareness. You know what I mean? There's an active effort to conceal what's happening in Tigray by the Ethiopian and Eritrean governments, right? So one of the things you could do to combat that is to help spread awareness.
What about a boycott of vacationing in Ethiopia? Because as African Americans, one of our favorite African countries to go to is Ethiopia.
Bro, tell me about it. I always thought I'd retire out there, so it's it's emotionally, mentally, man, it's a lot of paradigm switches that I'm going through right now. But boycotting Ethiopian coffee is big over Valentine's Day. So we actually did a boycott of roses from certain supermarkets because roses are also a big export from Ethiopia. Coffee is a big export from Ethiopia. Boycotting even Ethiopian restaurants if they are in support of what's happening in Ethiopia. So we did a protest outside of Little Ethiopia in Los Angeles about it was like 3 weeks ago now. But we protested and we just handed out flyers to people, letting them know what's happening because that area is heavily in support of the Ethiopian government as a whole. So, yeah,
we have
man.
a question to ask. Will the Biden
Yeah.
administration work to promote peace in those areas, or do you think Westerners only want the resources of the region? I'm going to jump in and say it has been a very laissez-faire policy of the U.S. when it comes to the Horn of Africa the past 30 years.
Yeah.
The real player in the Horn of Africa, if you want to know about powers, would be, in my opinion, China and Russia. And those are the countries that are applying a lot of resources, military, and withholding aid to certain areas and to certain tribes and clans of people. Yeah. Was there anything you wanted to add to that, though?
You know what? So Biden actually sent Senator Blinken down to Ethiopia, right, to see what's happening, to see what's going on. Right. So Biden expressed his concerns, but because of the blackout that was happening in Tigray, huge lack of information. So there's like information, there's a lack of evidence. Like at first, for the first month, like November and January, the only evidence we had was these large groups of people fleeing to Sudan, right? I mean, they got hit with tens of thousands of people out the blues, right? And nobody could figure out what was happening in Tigray because everything was inaccessible. I mean, now we're getting some information. So, I hope Biden acts. Like one of our campaigns was to actually push the Biden administration to do something because all they've been doing so far is expressing their concerns, which really is just buying idle time, right? It's idle time, and our idle time is somebody's last minute of life back in Tigray. So I'm hoping they act. Again, we've been creating a whole lot of petitions, social media campaigns, and protests to keep applying pressure so that they do act. But you know what, Cam, man, the truth is, you're correct on who big players are when it comes to the Horn of Africa. You know, I would just add the UAE and Saudi Arabia as well. Mm-hmm. Actually, the UAE was actually selling drones to the Ethiopian government. And these drones were attacking towns, cities in Tigray.
So let's remember that before we all want to go vacation in Dubai.
Man, and I've been wanting to go to Dubai. I ain't gonna lie to you. Now I'm sitting there looking at,
I'm Muslim and I'll never make Hajj because I refuse to set foot in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, so as somebody's like, as somebody who can worship or not even, excuse my language, somebody who can admire these places and then be like, there's no way I'll set foot there. I completely understand. But unfortunately, we got to wrap. We thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with us. I'm definitely even more intrigued. I'm definitely going to be looking to see what I can do individually for sure. And I appreciate this information.
Yeah, thank you so much,
both of y'all.
Guys, we appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate y'all too. And please look at the website omnatigray.org or hop on their Instagram for more information. Peace, y'all.
All right, peace.
All right, you guys. So please, please, please go to the website that you guys were instructed to go to by Ghazi. And I can't wait to get off of here and research how I can help. One thing that I'm really big on is humanitarian rights all over. The Horn of Africa has a special place in my heart. And genocides need to be called out for what they are. All right, so we're going to transition real quick. And we are going to go into some very exciting HBCU news. We're going to start with good old Morris Brown. Morris Brown, after 20 long years, finally has an application for accreditation that has been approved. And we are glad about it. We are hoping to see Morris Brown very soon return to the AUC and be as much of a presence as I've heard about from before my time. I cannot wait. Anytime we can save an HBCU from financial destruction and save it from no longer being a place of hallowed institution of education, it's a win for us. It's a win for our community. That's another place we can send our kids. That's another option for our kids. And I could not be any happier to see Morris Brown thriving. I think that it's worth noting the people and residents of Atlanta, along with their celebrity population, really their hip hop population, who helped donate big bucks to help keep Morris Brown's dream of reopening alive. And it looks like we're so much closer to that. Omar, how does that make you feel? Like, I mean, you and me both went to HBCUs in a time when Morris Brown wasn't there. All we had were stories of the legacy of Morris Brown. How does it make you feel to know that it's about to be back and running and hopefully bigger and better than ever?
Yeah, so I'm very excited to that point. There are a lot of HBCUs that suffer from financial hardship, unfortunately, but we are glad to see Morris Brown getting back intact. And I would like to speak to the fact of and encourage more alumni, to give back. We got to consider giving back financially. And I know, a lot of times when we get out of college, we have things and other obligations, but I feel like that we should, petition to get more funding from governments and see if we could campaign to get, our people to give into our colleges so we won't have this problem.
I think that's such an interesting point, the need for alumni to give back. I have no problem giving back. I have not given back to my own alma mater, though, in about 5 years. And to be honest with you, I want transparency. I went to my school as a student, and then I also have a son now who attended Tuskegee as well. And in that, I need to see what's going on. And what I find is that there are a lot of HBCUs that have board of trustees that do not look like me. And they have a lot of people within positions of powers who are not alumni of the school or have no invested interest in the longevity of the school. And we need to get back. There's a level of distrust, almost in the way that we see people feel towards the government being big brother and we as citizens, whereas alumni, we're like, okay, if I give this money, how come the dorm that I stayed in 12 years ago still doesn't have AC? What's going on? Or alumni want to give their money towards specific purposes, and that can't happen because of the way that the university goes about collecting money. I think that transparency is big. We are, as a African American culture, as a Black culture, we are communal, and everything must run within that community. There is no level of hierarchy just because you sit as the president of a school or the president of a board that you do not feel that you can be held accountable by the alumni or current student population. I think that is something that we need to address. I think that's something that has been addressed before in the history of HBCUs too. There's a story of Tuskegee students locking the board of trustees up in a hall until they were able to get what they wanted from them. And that's not unique to Tuskegee. We saw that multiple places during the civil rights movement where students took back their school. And before it gets to that point, again, we're at a place right now in our HBCU history where we can come to the table and offer transparency. So to echo what you said, I want to see us give back. And I also want to see our universities make more of an effort to be transparent in the way that they use the funds that alumni give.
Got you. Cam, I got a question that just came to my mind. I would like for those who have not attended the HBCU, what will be the significance or importance of attending, and how do you think it differs from the PWI atmosphere?
All right, so I'm gonna give you my experience. Okay, so I graduated from a majority white high school in Nashville. Had spent my teenage years in Nashville. I had went to prep schools where I was one of four Black kids. I was the Black kid who liked listening to like punk rock, so you could catch me listening to Linkin Park, Nickelback, Sum 41, whatever it was. I was that kid. I was the kid who had rollerblades and who didn't shoot a basketball but shot a soccer ball instead. And one day I said to my dad, I was like, "All right, I'm going to the University of Tennessee." And he's like, you're not." And I was like, "But I am." And I was like, "No, you're not." My dad worked within human resources and was a basketball and soccer coach for Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. Shout out to Fisk. But my dad really saw the importance of me going to an HBCU in a time that I didn't, and at a time that I was afraid. I was also a kid who grew up in North Nashville. If you know the makeup of North Nashville before gentrification, the toughest projects in the city, two of them were right there. And I grew up in that. So a lot of my life, I grew up literally throwing hands because I was different. And it was like, I don't really want to have to get into that going to school. This is going to be a lot. And I was genuinely afraid. And I had the worst misconception of what an HBCU would be. HBCU would be. When I got there, what I learned was that Black people are not monolithic in the least bit. Least bit. There's such a diversity amongst us as a people, and it is beautiful. And to be there with people who look like you, who are striving to be great like you, with teachers who care about you. I could not do my work. You want to know the difference between a PWI and an HBCU? I could not do my work at a PWI, and I'm going to get a 0. If I didn't do my work at an HBCU, my advisor was at my dorm door. Talk about, "Chief, what you doing? Where you been at? You supposed to be in the, please don't make me have to come find you." You know what I'm saying? It's that way of caring. Right. It's that way of nurturing. And when it came to opportunities for internships, all my teachers were looking out for me. They were like, "Hey, check this one off. I want you to do this." When it came to research, my first time ever being published as a researcher, shout out to Dr. Lonnie Hannon from Birmingham, Alabama. He put me on. As a junior in college, I can say that I was a part of published research and presented it, and that was only because of the opportunities that were given to me at Tuskegee. And when it came time for me to send my son to school, and Tuskegee knew that I had a son to send, it was open arms. It was welcome home, family. We're going to take care of him. So if my son came from Hawaii to Tuskegee, it was easy letting him go there, doing such a big jump, because I knew he was going to be around family. And that's the most beautiful thing about being at an HBCU is it's family. And when you graduate, the family gets even bigger because, I got nothing but love for my Golden Tigers. But if I see somebody from ASU, it's, "Hey, what's up?" If we in a place where I can help you out, it's, "Come on, let me see what I can do for you." And vice versa. I know it's the same way. Now, when we in the HBCU world, ASU is where a whole bunch of rejects go to school. But don't let me hear nobody who don't go for an HBCU ever try ASU on any level. But that friendly, that brotherly, that sisterly competition, like that's fam. That's fam. What about you? Why do you think it's important to go to an HBCU?
I want to go ahead and speak to Ms. Pollard. I think the comment said that maybe board of trustees should have 60% or higher African American heritage. I do agree, and that is a great point. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. I haven't been to any HBCUs where like Cam said, where the board of trustees are of African American descent. It just that's a whole another discussion and conversation. But as for myself, HBCUs, I had the most. First thing I want to say, I first went to the California Club. Shout out to the California Club. Shout out all my boys that I met, homeboys, homegirls, stellar individuals. We all had each other's back. It was, I just had an amazing experience. First thing I heard when people were giving me an introduction to Tuskegee, I couldn't understand. They would say, I love Tuskegee, Mother Tuskegee, Mother Tuskegee, right? And until I haven't been on the campus for years, over 10 to 15 years, and those who they still hit me up. I remember being stranded, going down to the Soul Inn or other places.
Come on, Soul.
Right. It would be upperclassmen that'll see you, community mostly, and they'll take you back to school, give you a ride back to campus. And I mean, all the love. It was nothing but love, so it's Tuskegee to the heart for me. So
it's always love. It's always love.
Boone, Young Hall, the home.
Hey, shout out to Boone Goons though.
Right. And also the inspiration of those. I don't think people understand the quality products that HBCUs spit out. What kind of products that they produce, right? We got those achieving in fields such as entrepreneurship, business, working for Alex Rodriguez, big time lawyers, attorneys, the gamut, right? I don't know if they want to be put on the spot, firefighters, etc. But you guys know who you guys are, and for the most part, it's been nothing but inspiration. I see people 10 years down the line and they're doing amazing things. One thing I do want to point out, I recently was involved at my school. I did the Black History Month celebration. I was on the committee. I got on the phone. It was nothing but a phone call. And they contributed in every way, spoke to the kids, stopped what they was doing, made time, and some of these people I haven't connected with in years. And it's as simple as a phone call. So I would say the community, the fellowship, and the brotherhood, right? I haven't experienced anywhere else, so that's my take on that.
And while I'll say this, not to ruffle nobody's feathers, I didn't go to a PWI for undergrad. I don't know what that's like. However, I have a lot of Black friends who went to PWIs, and we did not have the same experience. And I wouldn't trade my experience from the world. Some of them wouldn't trade theirs either. Some of them would. But I'm not saying nothing, but I'm saying something if you're picking up what I'm putting down, okay? So going into the next segment, we're going to highlight, this is our business segment. We're going to highlight entrepreneurs in business. Omar, take that one for us.
Okay, we have Chef E-Double. He's having complication. He's running a little bit behind. He's a chef from Los Angeles, California. As a matter of fact, I feel like he's walking in right now as we speak. We over here kicking it.
Okay, God.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell. We in Las Vegas, Nevada. We having a good time. He's out here doing things, big things. A little bit about him. He's from Los Angeles, California. Hey, what's going on? He's from Los Angeles, California. Worked with numerous celebrities. Been featured on BET, the news networks, all types of shows. The gamut. So there you go.
An amazing intro. Hello, guys. I'm so sorry about our
Chef E-Double, my brother from our
tardy presence, but I'm being super dad today, so they did not want to get out the pool.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we impromptu. You know how we do. It's all good. Man. Go ahead and get comfortable here. We're gonna just go ahead and set this up. So Edwin Redway of E-Double Catering. He has a restaurant, Grilled Fresh. He has a food
fresh
truck.
Signatures.
Fresh signatures. All right, there we go. So, E-Double.
Hello.
I mean, a little bit about yourself, man. Tell us how you got into the chef life.
Honestly, it started in ninth grade at high school at Dorsey.
Shout out to the Dons.
Yeah, man, all my real ones. We had a really good culinary program, and it's like anything else, man. Once you find something that you find joy in, and something that constantly challenge you to be better, you know, we're gonna soak it up and take it to the next level.
Heard that.
A lot of grade to 12th grade that was made from different programs that were put together. CCAP, Careers Through Culinary Arts, a whole bunch of
That's real.
a whole bunch of National Restaurant Association, Black Business Expo, the whole bunch of owners from mom and pop shops in LA, Shabazz, Earl's Grill, Aunt Kizzy's, Doolin's. A lot of those owners were mentors to me before I even realized that they were mentors to me. But it was really good to develop those relationships and continue to keep moving forward.
Okay, and one thing I don't want to undermine, just the impact that this brother has had in LA on the LA culture. He's made a big impact. Can you talk about just some of the people you have worked with, as far as entertainment wise, athletes, and and what you have done, awards?
Well, I think what's really most important is the influence that I've had on the whole culinary field nationwide, not LA. And I could, I might drop a name or two in a second, but I could care less about who we've cooked for and care more about all the lives that we've touched, not just through clients, but through people who didn't know that chefing was cool. And as all you guys know, you on any social media platform, like everybody is now a chef. I'm sure you have a cousin, auntie, uncle, little nephew, or someone who is now chef someone, which is dope. When I was 98, when I started at Dorsey High School, before I was able to go to LA Trade Tag and then go to Le Cordon Bleu in London, it wasn't cool to be a chef. Like it wasn't the thing, but that was what empowered me. That was what drove me. So I went pro in it. Like I used to walk through the hallways, the in building, with a big old oversized chef coat on. And after school we worked programs. Yeah, man, like we worked programs and we did things just like the football team was out practicing on the field and the basketball team was in the gym, after hours and 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock into the evening. I was also doing the same thing with culinary. So I think what really stands out, or something I'm really proud of, is the fact that culinary then took off. It's definitely not me. There was a whole bunch of people that was before me, but we embraced it. And now it's just so dope to see it as a mainstream entrepreneurial occupation.
Okay. What would you say would be your most memorable moments? Moment or moments as a chef.
I think if you embrace the journey, there's every chapter you say it's gonna be memorable. One thing that stood out to me had to be, I think, 11th grade. I won a program through CCAP, Careers Through Culinary Arts, to go overseas, and go to Cordon Bleu in London and do a free course over there. That's definitely something I'll never forget. I've been blessed to be able to go back, since 2001. I've been blessed to go back 2 times since then. And I was supposed to go back last year, but COVID happened, but just the fact that I was able to touch another country as a inner city youth from South Central Los Angeles that hadn't seen much, and just to have that exposure, just to go tap into another culture and just see how the people of England were very welcoming. You know what I'm saying? And that was definitely one that stood out. Other than that, man, we could tap into a whole lot. I mean, do you remember Crack 'em Up College Wednesdays, the Comedy Union with Brandon T.
Absolutely.
Jackson?
Yep.
So that was
if y'all didn't know, he would have some events, some awesome events, and you go there and you don't know who gonna be there, but it was always star-studded, and it's, to me, like, honestly, there's a lot of chefs that, you know, they take this journey, but like I would say, you know, you stood out. What makes you like? How are you able to network, right, to become, you know, successful? And what are some, you know, network is a big part of it, right?
Absolutely.
How were you able to network?
I tell everybody all the time that it's really all about planting seeds, and you're not really sure when those seeds are going to sprout. But if you stay solid and you keep integrity, people are not going to forget you. You know, a lot of times people make relationships because they want to see you right. You know, they want to gain something right away from it. And, you know, for myself, it's always been about like staying solid and, you know, figuring out, excuse me, what we doing? Are we listening?
Shout out to the kids.
Yeah, they're not going nowhere. Yeah, but building those relationships start as simple as just doing what you're saying you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like I tell everybody to dream big, but definitely focus small. And the focus small part comes in when, you know, if you meet a contact and you say, hey, I want to be in this field, and they say, all right, call me at this time. It's funny because I actually still use this. Like people will reach out through social media and they'll be like, Chef, I have a question for you. I'm going to start a food truck, but I'm in limbo in between the food truck and the brick and mortar. Whatever the question is, I'll say, all right, on Monday, call me at 12 p.m. If you really want to know this answer, you're going to make sure that you set an alarm at 11:30 to go off to say, hey, call Chef at 12, because in between, you know, the children, multiple businesses, I'm busy. I don't have time. You know, I don't have time. But if I've given you my number and I told you to reach out at a certain time, then I'm counting on you to reach out at that time. And if you call me at 12:15, I'm going to say, hey, thanks, you know, but let's try this again next Tuesday at 12 o'clock, because you don't know when you're going to miss your opportunity. So something as simple as just doing what you say you're going to do or what was asked of you or told you, it's important, because in this field and in life, there ain't no excuses.
And as a person, I commend you, man. Like, as long as I've known E-Double, one of the things he always said, no excuses.
None.
No excuses.
No, that's not me to other people. That's me to myself. I'm really just reflecting like what I need to be on, what I need to do, you know, what for me and what's not doable. And, you know, you got to tell yourself no excuses, because it's on you at the end of the day. Like, it's really going to be on you to do what you say you're going to do. Like, can't nobody do it for you. And we're going to make the excuse for ourselves. Oh, man, I'll do it tomorrow. Or, oh, man, I missed Omar's show because I was, you know, down with the kids, but I'll get on the next one. Nah, no excuses, man. Your man told you to be up here at 4:30. We missed that, but we're here now. We're here now, man. We're here. But in life, man, no excuses. Let's continue to get better every day. And then if you fall short one day, get back up the next day and let's continue to be great. You know, like every day is a new day.
Is that Will on there? Speak on your brothers and how you got started in entrepreneurship, the food biz, and how you contributed to helping people who were financially unable to afford plumbing. E-Double, he don't do the plumbing. He does more of the.
But that's a good question though, because I don't feel like it matters what trade it is. I think your question had a lot of substance in it. It says how you got started in entrepreneurship. Let's start there. My mother and my father were entrepreneurs at the end of the day. My mother was a cosmetologist. She set up a beautiful salon right in the middle of our living room. Like, this is 28. I'm 37. Man, it's longer than that. 30-something years ago, you know, we were one of the first people who had tile living rooms. And I ain't talking about like the tile we got now. I'm talking about like if it's any moisture on that tile, it's a problem, because that tile is real slippery. We had a lot of people busted their heads on that tile. This is way back in the day. But, you know, I commend her for having a vision and a dream and executing it. And we saw that entrepreneurial spirit nonstop through both my mother and my father, who started a plumbing company and incorporated for 28 years. He was a plumbing inspector for the city of Los Angeles after his company. But that DNA of entrepreneurship and plumbing seeped into all my brothers, man. One of your best friends, Owen, now he has his own business. Shouts out to Owen Window Plumbing and LR Services Plumbing.
My boy Drew Skino.
Drew Skino has his plumbing company, and Mr. Marcus Plumbing. Those all branched off through LRS Plumbing, who is the hub of almost black plumbers in Los Angeles.
Salute my boy Leonard.
Absolutely. A lot of free game was given, and still given to me, because Leonard is one of my business partners to this day, and mentors when it comes to just business questions. What's the next step? Things that we're doing. So definitely develop those relationships, whether that be family or friends or just somebody who is in the space that you want to be in. I would definitely tell you to suck all of that. And his second part was, who were the people who couldn't? What was that last part? I couldn't.
Okay, well, we'll probably get back to it. We got the time segment.
Okay.
For the second time, I appreciate you.
Sorry, Will. I was trying to get it, man.
Appreciate you for coming through, man. You always come through.
Does Will still got our trailer we need to get to work on?
Oh,
Will, come on, Will. Send the trailer over. Stop playing. Oh, that's Matt. Oh, my bad. My bad, Will. But Matt got the trailer.
Yup. Respect. Okay, Cam, we're going to send it back over to you. Peace and love from Los Angeles, California, Las Vegas.
All right, you guys. So that was amazing. I'm kind of sad we didn't get to see anything cook, so we're gonna have the chef back just so we can get a cooking tutorial. And I'm definitely gonna have to make my way to the West Coast so I can see about trying some of this food, because man said he studied at the Cordon Bleu in London. Like, you don't meet run-of-the-mill people who studied at London's Cordon Bleu. So I've got to try this. I ain't rich yet, so, but I'm going to come through. I'm going to have to save an income tax or something and come through to afford you, Chef. But we greatly appreciate you being here. So we're going to jump into the political and current news of this week that is really just affecting us. And really, I would have loved to have been able to get on here and tell you guys 15 different news stories that are going on and in different ways that we're being affected. But we're really being pulled in two different directions mostly. And what we see in those two directions, the first one that I'm going to touch on is police brutality. We have the recent death in Elizabethtown, and I have been able to see the footage of the body cam video. It has not been released to the public. And the only time I cried after watching a body cam or at watching a video of a Black man being killed was George Floyd. I cried harder watching this video. I would warn anybody when it comes out to take a beat, take a breath, and do what's good for your mental health. It's not natural for us to be seeing people who look like us gunned down worse than pigs at a slaughterhouse. It's not natural for a 16-year-old to feel as if they are a threat because of their skin color. I'm a former educator, and I had a great conversation with one of my students who's been really going through it, a young Black man, about 16. And he literally said he's afraid to go out of the house right now because he doesn't want to be mistaken for a threat, because nobody's going to see him as a boy who loves anime. They'll just see him as a scary Black man. And in the situation in Elizabethtown, I want to get into the facts real quick. We have Anthony Brown Jr., who was pulled over. He was in his car. He had his hands on the wheel. Police come out, several police officers, and they ask him to get out. Anthony becomes scared. Anthony, with his hands on the wheel, tries to go away. He is shot 4 times. The medical examiner determined that his death was a result from a shot to the back of the head, execution style. What we know is if he's shot in the back of the head, he is not in any present danger to any of those officers out there. And we know that if he's shot in the back of the head, that they did not look at him when they killed him. He was going away from them when they killed him. Again, not any present danger to the officers. We also know that police officers are taught not to shoot at moving vehicles for the possibility of unwanted casualties. All that was ignored. All of it was ignored. And what we know now is that the city, upon anticipation of the body cam footage being released has already declared a state of emergency. What I say to that town is the Black community has already called for a state of emergency because you will not stop killing us. It is systematic, it is brutal, it is inhumane, and the U.S. is protected by its first world developed nation hegemonic power that the rest of the world will not bring them up on crimes against their own people. And this goes into a bonus of what I'm also feeling with the second topic of how Black Lives Matter is being characterized in mainstream media as a Marxist, socialist, anarchist group. We're going to tie these both concepts in together right here. First, when it comes to police killing, we've seen these stories before. This isn't going to be the last one that we hear about, unfortunately. And unfortunately, this one comes within a week of 5 other Black people dying by the hands of the police. I'm tired of dealing with the police. I don't want those officers' jobs anymore. I want the officers' jobs who train them. I want the politicians who refuse to pass laws. I want their jobs. We want their jobs. We don't want the small fish. We want the big fish, because for whatever reason, America keeps playing this game with one of its oldest, most loyal ethnic groups to ever grace her shores. And we did not grace these shores by accident. Do not forget that we were brought here. And being brought here and having done what we've done, we've always heard that America is lucky that African Americans are after equality and not revenge. And I want to remind Americans that are not Black, that African Americans are not after revenge. We're after equality. Since when is it Marxist? Is it anarchist? Is it anything else but democratic to protest your government when she does not uphold the ideals for which she has been founded upon? There is no group of people more patriotic and more American than African Americans. And that is not to be lost. I hear a lot lately about how Black Lives Matter movement are Marxist. And let's get into what that means when people say that Black Lives Matter are Marxist or communist. It means that we support a communist philosophy of thinking, which means that we think that everything should be equal all the way around, no matter what, no matter who puts in what work, and that everybody should get these same resources no matter what. We're not saying that. We're saying the resources that we worked for, give them to us. Stop letting others profit off of us. We understand that we're in a capitalist society, but capitalist society says that we get credit for our work. And this country got a massive head start on the backs of people who look like me. And we're here to collect. People love to quote Dr. King. And when I say people, I'm talking about hidden racists. I'm talking about right-wing conservatives love to quote Dr. King. Well, let's quote him. Y'all love to quote his dream. Remember in his dream that he said that we were there that day then to collect on a promissory note that had yet to be fulfilled. And what it means to us now is that we still haven't gotten that promissory note. We're on y'all's heads until y'all give us what we came for. I see somebody commented, right. However, the Asian crime bill passes the Senate without any issue, but the George Floyd bill is stuck in the Senate. Listen, one thing that I don't ever want to do, and I don't think this comment is doing that, but I want to make sure that we're aware of this, is we don't want to get in whataboutisms with other minorities. We all know that Asian population is referred to as a model minority. It is who the system prefers their immigrants and their contributors from other countries to be like, because Asians do a very good job of assimilating into Western society. However, it is also important to note that there is nothing in that Asian hate crime bill of any consequence. Nothing. The equivalent would have been if we had all backed the Black Republican senator out of South Carolina, Senator Cotton, who wanted to pass a policing act at the beginning of the summer of last year. And we said no, because there's no real change. Call your senators. Make sure that you guys know. Make sure that you guys know your senators and let them know. Pass that George Floyd Policing Act. We got a question that says, honestly, what are your thoughts regarding police brutality and black on black violence? Because many groups theorize a correlation. Stop it. What we're not going to do is that. Because when it comes to black on black crime, if you want to talk about black on black crime, let's talk about white on white. Let's talk about Latino on Latino. Let's talk about Asian on Asian. Because want to know why? Because every ethnicity's number one perpetrator of violence is their own ethnicity, because they are crimes of proximity, not crimes of systems like we see with black people and the American government system. There is no correlation. And if you want to talk on that, invest in our HBCUs. Because, Omar, maybe you can speak for your experience, but these were conversations we had in our town hall meetings. We talked about black on black violence. We talked about getting out in our community. And I'll be damned if kids from Tuskegee were not out there helping kids from Booker T. Washington, the local high school, if we weren't giving back in other ways and making sure that we were present and that we were talking about these issues. People only bring up black on black crime when we bring up police brutality, and stop doing that. We're not getting sidetracked here. We're on y'all's heads until y'all stop killing us. And that is the message. That's what's not changing. Do not give in to this rhetoric that we are not America. No, we are America. We are what they never wanted. We were brought into this country. When I say we, I'm talking about a very specific person. Be clear, because some would say that this is I'm angry, or that I feel some type of way. No. For most things in my life, I believe we can agree to disagree. I can agree to disagree with you about some things, and we can still be cool. What I'm not going to, though, go back and forth with anybody in, and what is a hardcore fact is what is true and what my ancestors have gone through and what they went through to get here, and the amount of generational trauma and stress that I feel in my black body just from being born in this black body in this country. You may not be able to understand it, and I'm not asking you to understand it. What I'm asking you to do is acknowledge it. And I have seen white people, I have seen brown people, I have seen people from all walks of life be able to acknowledge the African-American struggle and plight. And anybody who cannot, you don't not only fall short, your ignorance is unacceptable, because now it's willingness. How many of you are having conversations? So when I say you, I'm not talking to black people, but how many people are having conversations with that racist uncle, with that racist auntie who said something weird, who said something that wasn't right? We're not going back and forth with the struggles of my people. What you can do is you can either be an ally or you can be an ally. That's it. Those are your options right now because of the state that we are living in. What universal groups do we have to get it together between NFAC, NBPP, NAACP, HBCU, Black Lives Matter? What are we missing? It's different when you're fighting a system that has a power. We're fighting the strongest system known in the present world, really next to the Communist Party of China. And this country was literally built. It's woven into the fabrics of this nation. So we may have one group that's able to address education. We may have another group that's able to address finance. We may have another group that's able to address systematic issues within policing. We need all of these groups. And if you're asking me what I think we need is we need a once a year meeting of the minds. There's always a once a year State of the Union. Where's the State of the Black Union? But when we have the State of the Black Union, it can't be like, oh, some people are going to be invited, some people aren't, some people are going to carry this mantle, some people aren't. No, everybody needs to be logged in, tuned in, and there. And unfortunately, that means we got to deal with the ugly part of our community too. That means we got to bring in the Kanye Wests of the world to talk to them. We got to bring in, this is going to take a lot out of me to say, but we got to bring in the Candace Owens. We should, y'all. God's still working on me, so we're gonna pray and see if I can really stomach dealing with somebody like that. But we do have to have a meeting of the Black minds collectively, to where we can where we can come together in all these facets and truly see what we're going to do next. And whatever it is that we decide to do next, we do full out. One of the best things about the summer that I kept praying for was that the protest for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor would not end in a week. Well, we were 6 weeks out and I was still marching. I knew we were serious. And we've got to bring that same type of intensity at every moment, at every possible moment. The last current event we're going to touch on real quick is what's going on with our wallets right now. I went to the gas station and had to take a minute and breathe because gas done shot up a whole $1 in less than 6 months, really. And I was wondering why is that? And we've heard a lot about the Dakota Key Access Pipeline being shut down. And many people have equated it to that. I'm a fan of shutting down the Dakota Access Pipeline because it ran through sacred Native American grounds. And full stop, when Native Americans speak, everybody on this continent needs to listen. Full stop. If they want it, they get it. Remember, this was theirs. This is theirs. And that will never be lost on me. And so I think that we must make sure for us to be able to back Native American brothers and sisters as well. But the reason for the gas rises is because supply and demand went up. We know that when the pandemic started, that less people were driving. The barrels of gas dropped majorly. Now with the U.S. opening, a few other countries opening more with the vaccine, we're seeing the cost of barrels of gas go up. This absolutely has no correlation to the shutdown of the Dakota Access Pipeline. One, because it wasn't producing any oil. Two, because the oil that would have been produced from there was going to be exported to other countries. It's also worth noting that gas spikes have been reoccurring since 1996 in the summer and spring months. So we may be in for a pretty pricey summer. But this is just something that I want you guys to keep on your radar and to keep in the back of your heads, and make sure you watch the disinformation around why gas is going up. Omar, I just kind of went on a whole tangent right there, my good friend. But I wanted to make sure I was able to get the news out. But I would really like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind. I'm gonna circle back to the killings in Elizabethtown. Do you think you'll watch the body cam when it comes out?
Say again, the service was going out just a little bit. I'm having just a little.
Do you think you'll watch the body cam
footage
when it? Do you think you'll watch the body cam footage when it comes out?
Say that one more time, Cam.
Do you think you'll watch the body cam footage of the police shooting when it comes out? What makes you want to watch that?
I mean, I know that there is controversial opinions whether we should watch it and give, because some people feel that when you watch it, you give power and influence to it, right? By raising views and just giving power to the negative energy. However, I feel that people need to know what's going on, right? I mean, yeah, they're getting a lot of views and we may be perpetuating it that way, but I look at it in a different way. I feel that we must know what's going on. We must be active. We got to let our children know what's going on, right?
Right.
But for me, I feel like with that, when we know what's going on, right, we could teach our children. We have to become involved economically. We got to stick together, right? I know that we know that the oppressors are not going to play fair no matter what we say. So I feel that what we need to do is infiltrate, right? And look after each other, look after our own, right? Get some political power, economic power. Then we can get the political power, right? And support each other and go from there. Teach our children what's going on, right? So,
do you think
I mean, that's just
power
my
comes
view.
before political power?
Well, in my view, I think that you could go and you could say what's fair and what's not fair. We've been doing that for years, but nothing's going to change, So I feel that when, say, like, there's times when people have been oppressed and getting fired from their jobs by being through oppression, right? Now, if we had our own jobs, right, or if I could go to somebody of color and be, then you know that they won't have that much power, right? Yeah, you can fire me from here, but if I have my own school instead of working at a school, right, then that is power because you hire color. You see what I'm saying? And that's why my main my passion is entrepreneurship, you know.
But see, I wonder, and this is just a thought, I wonder, but what about when the politics affect the way that you're able to make money and the way you're able to start businesses? Because we know that if you go for a business loan or something, that as a Black person, you're less likely to get one. So that's where I see the politics and econ question. That's why I'm wondering, because to me, I don't know that we can fully thrive economically if we don't have any political power. We saw what happened when we had economic power in Tulsa.
In your opinion, to get there, that's, you know, how do we get there? Where do we start? You know,
I think that is a great question in this segment on where do we start? How do we get there? I think that's something for us to go back and think about. I think that's something for the viewers to go back and think about. And we have made time for the first program for Black News Briefing. This has been so exciting. This has been so amazing. Thank you all for participating in this conversation, in this dialogue. Thank you all for giving us a moment of your time. Shout out to HBCU Sense for the platform. Shout out to Omar for holding it down. Shout out to the Noops, Omar's bros, you know, and and forevermore. Shout out to the Sigmas, Blue Phi to the death of me. Omar, anything you want to say to the people?
Oh, thank you so much, and we appreciate you guys. Shout out to E-Double, and shout out to the viewers, and let's keep this thing going. Let's continue to build.
All right, you guys. Nothing else. You guys be blessed, be safe, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week again for the Black News Briefing.